So what's up, man?
Yo, not much, man.
Dude. Okay, good. So listen, let's cut right to it. There's 30 people watching, so let's not waste their time. So this is Ryan. Ryan's sales guy with our company. I say sales guy with all due respect. He's a sales and marketing manager with our company. That's his official title. He's been working with our company for how long now? 3 years?
Just over 3 years.
Just over 3 years. And the most amount of money that this guy had made. Okay, guys, if you're watching this and you're getting hammered by COVID right now, okay, if you're getting hammered by government, if you're obsessed with watching Rebel News, if you're following Chris Sky around all the time, like, well, where is he now? Who's arresting him now? If that's what you're watching, then you need to pay attention to this, okay? So, because in a depressed economy, in a time when everything's down, in a time where businesses are going out of business, this guy, I kind of ask real quick, what'd you make last year?
101.
$101,000, okay? So when Ryan came to work for our company, the most he had made was what, 40 grand?
42.
He had made 42,000. So, anyway, so this is Ryan. He's been with us for 3 years. The most he ever made was 42 grand in a year. He came and signed up for this ridiculously hard job where you have to literally cold call leads. We didn't in our business. Now it's a different story. Now there's more inbound leads, but back in the day when we started our company, you had to call all your leads for ice cold. You had to build all your lists from scratch. And I just want to pass the torch to you in a second. So your first year, what'd you make with us?
40, yeah, something like 40.
40 grand. So you didn't make any more money. And how much harder was your job compared to, and what happened to your costs? So you went from Ottawa to here.
Yeah.
Your job got way harder.
It probably, in opportunity cost and extra cost and all that shit, was like another like 15 grand. Plus I was like working twice as hard. But at the same time, there were times where I was working twice as hard, but it felt better because I was like, shit, I'm onto something.
Yeah, because I want to deliver this talk to. I got a lot of new followers, and a lot of them have been following these bad influencers who tell you that it's about do what you love, follow your passion, and the reason they have to say do what you love is because most people suck at a lot of things in business, so they don't love anything except their hobbies. And if they try and just pursue their hobbies, like I've just seen it again and again and again. So many guys I've trained 2,000 staff. Probably 2,500 staff. And I've seen so many people leave our companies and go do what they love. And then they end up running into the same shit and the shit that they don't know how to do, shit they don't like. So you left the job you knew how to do. You're working for the Ottawa Senators.
Yep.
You quit that, came out, spent money to fly out here, moved out here. So that cost money. You drove out, right?
No, I shipped my car. I shipped my car, which I later traded in at a value of $1,500. So I paid $1,500 to ship it out. I probably shouldn't have, but I was obsessed with my G6 GT Pontiac convertible.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You got a new GT on the way. We'll talk about what you just ordered in a second.
Yeah.
So, and you lost money. It cost you 15 grand to move out here, to start the new job, to get more expensive rent, and you made less money. Basically, you made 40 grand. You made $2,000 less. Okay, so, and it wasn't what you loved. Like, was cold calling what you loved?
No, I hated so much of it, man. I would wear this bracelet. Right now I got Success is My Duty, but I have one that says Don't Be a Little Bitch by Grant Cardone. And I would literally have to look at, I'd be like, oh my God, this sucks so much. And then I'd be like, oh, right, got it.
Yeah. And I just want to acknowledge, and not to cut you down at all, Ryan did not have the same kind of persona. He didn't have the beard. He didn't have this alphaness to him the way he does now. He built that, though. I just want to acknowledge you for that. Like, he built that. He worked weekends. He worked Saturdays. He wasn't concerned with work-life balance. And so he texts me today, and tell him what you texted me today.
Yeah, so I crossed the 200 grand mark in income for 2021, and we still got a couple months.
And you did it in October.
Yeah. Well, actually, so this is funny because last year I had a goal of 100 grand. And I was sitting down with Morgan and I'm like, yeah, man, dude, I got to hit this target. I got 2 months left. He's like, what are you talking about? You have 1 month left. And this was like right around today. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I have November and December. He's like, no, dude, you get paid the month after. So your pay for 2020, you got 1 month left. So I was like, oh shit. And then I had to like scramble and like pull a magic rabbit, like just to kind of get that number. But yeah,
So you made 101 grand last year,
yeah,
and this year you already hit 200 grand, and you got a
yeah,
pipeline.
yeah.
What's your prediction? What goal are you going for?
I'm trying to hit 250 this year. So
Okay.
I'll have
You
to,
went
I
from
have to pull
100
up.
grand in 1 year to 200 grand in this made 2020 look like nothing. Way more businesses closed, more restrictions, worse economy than 2020. Okay. Lockdowns. So what's your, like, I got so many people who follow me, and they're so, and I obviously, we still run the Concerned Citizens piece. Kyle and Matt are running that, and we're moving forward with that. People think it's an overnight thing. But people are so concerned with it. People send me so much shit. I had to tell 3 people in the last 2 days, stop sending me this shit.
Yeah.
Like, you can send me good data, like, hey, here's what you need to know about this health thing. Here's what you need to know about how this jab's going to kill you. I'm cool with the data if it comes from a doctor, but they're just sending me, bullshit. People are so consumed with that. And in that year, when everyone's been consumed with that, you've more than doubled your income. You probably increase your income by 130, 140%.
Yeah. I don't watch news ever.
Okay. Clarify that. You including social media.
Like, that's probably the one exception, but basically I trust you, and maybe I follow like 1 or
Grant.
2 other people. Yeah, Grant. And then like, remember when that day when, sorry to bring this up everybody, but there was that day where people who are not vax cannot attend gyms, restaurants, bars. Like, there was a day where they announced it, and we sat down and we were like, all right guys,
As a company.
announcement. Yeah. And I said, well, no, I don't know what you're talking. What announcement?
Yeah, I remember that.
That's how much I don't follow. And by the way, before I moved out here, I actually was starting to get a lot into, like, I was listening to news podcasts. I was like, I got to be more educated in the news and follow the shit. And the more I've detached myself from all the garbage and negativity and all the shit in the world that I can't control, and just started focusing on what can I control, and focusing on like, hey, let me watch Cardin University, or let me watch a video or read a book that's going to help me build skills so I could put myself at cause, rather than being at effect of all the stuff in the world I can't control. The more I did that, the more my income grew.
Yeah. Well, dude, the proof's in the pudding, man. I mean, that's huge, dude, and I mean, we all fall into it. I mean, even I got course corrected this year. In September, I had to take off like 3-4 weeks. Just because I had gotten so consumed in a game, like, where we were going to go this like gung ho on this like Concerned Citizens thing, like full up, and we're still hustling forward on that. We just held a town hall meeting this week with a lawyer to give information to businesses. But I'm like, man, like, they want me to play this game. They said, hey, come play this game with me. And I'm like, all right, I'll play this game, but just to keep you the fuck away from my business and my people, I'm going to put this wall here. But I got to play my game. I got to play my game. I got to play, because if I don't have the money, if I'm not helping my people, my business, my team, my family, my group, then I'm playing the government's game, And it's funny because you didn't play the game. You didn't play the game at all. You're like, fuck that game. I'll play my own game. And I don't see people doing that. So like, what's the big difference? Okay, let's talk about this. What's the big difference between your 100 grand year and your 200? And I got to predict. I think you can break 250. I think you've got 60 days. I think you've got 3 pay periods left, like 3 pay periods, because I know how they get paid out, right? Like, I know there's the commissions get paid one cycle, and then you have 2 salaries or whatever. So
I got a month base, but I'd have to pull in about 45 G's in a month. I could do it for sure.
What's the biggest month you've had so far?
Might be this month, depending on how tomorrow shapes up. But like 31.
Okay.
Yeah, 31.
Okay, 31. That one was that August, July? When was that?
I think it was July. Yeah, or maybe somewhere there. Yeah.
So what's the big difference between someone who makes 250, 220, 240, whatever, 280, and someone who makes 100 grand? What changes did you make from last year to this year?
Well, I think one of the big things is I just didn't quit.
Hmm.
right? Like I think what happens is like people get to 100 grand and then they built up all this momentum, but they're like, they look at the person doing 300 grand. They're like, oh, why am I not there? And then they like switch jobs, right? Or same thing with the person at 50 trying to get to 100. So they got all this momentum. They like half figured it out, but instead of committing and figuring the rest out, they look for all the reasons why it's not working. They become critical of the job. They blame their boss. They blame the economy. And like, that's probably one of the things I'm most proud of is like at all the times where I could have got unsold, right? Could have found all the negativity. I was just like, fuck this. I'm not
I
quitting.
gave you plenty of reasons, bro. I gave you plenty of reasons. I got to plug my phone in while we're talking here. I gave you plenty
Yeah.
of reasons,
Yeah.
man. Okay.
So, and by the way, guys, like what Corey's saying with that is like, to me, I feel like, and this is not like meant to be an I'm just riffing right now. It's not meant to be
Oh, dude.
a public endorsement, but like, I love the fuck out of this company. I love the people in it. We see the world the same way. We vibe. We have a great time. We make a lot of money. But like, even in your ideal company, like you're going to find reasons of like, oh, I blame this. Oh, this sucks. Oh, this could be more ideal. Like you're never going to find like, if you're one of those millennials that fucking 8 months here, 1 year here, 2 years here, like if you're that person, like understand you're like, oh, I need to look for the next thing. No, you need to look for the thing in you that you're not committing to.
Hmm.
And that's
Big,
like,
man.
yeah, that's one of the
Dude, that's
biggest
big.
things. And then another thing is like, if you, and you taught me this, if you look at, it's like a graph, right? A lot of people, the reason that they don't make those big milestones is like they're trying to get those big ups, but they have these downs and they kind of roller coaster. So, and Grant Cardone says this, all you got to do to have that consistent up is just eliminate some of the downs.
Yeah,
And
man. How'd you eliminate the downs? The people are on a roller coaster right now, man. Like, dude, that's why I'm
well,
down here. So I'm in Florida right now. I'm doing a retreat. I just got some stem cells in Panama, and all I've been doing right now, I have to quarantine before I can go on this retreat because they're covering their ass, and I don't blame them. So it's fine because I just traveled it to Central America. So they're like, all right, go
yeah,
stay at your house. Don't come into like contact with strangers for 2 weeks and take a couple, basically do a couple COVID tests, make sure you're good. So while I'm here, like I'm up every morning. I'm at the beach at 8 a.m. I do a workout. I bring my weights with me. I do a workout at the beach, and then I'm studying. I study because I'm up 8 a.m. My time's 5 a.m. where my business is running, and then my Ontario business doesn't start till noon. So like I'm good in that morning, that chunk, and then I come back and then I study right away. And since I unplugged from social media, since I unplugged from Facebook, like there's so many people on Facebook and Instagram who think they're laughing at everybody. Like my whole following is conservative. So there's not a person watching this guaranteed who buys into like that COVID's this terrible thing that's going to end their life now. And they're laughing at people. They're like, oh, look at these people like wearing 6 masks. They're living in fear. Meanwhile, they're living in fear of government tyranny. They're living in fear of, oh, look, they're going to come force. They're going to come knock on my door. Like how many of these people are like, oh, they're going to come for us and take us and put us in camps. Or, oh, only a matter of time before whatever new restriction comes out. Like these people, these patriots are living in fear, riding that roller coaster, and they're loving their abuser. And their abusers are Rebel News. Their abusers are all these fucking, Chris Sky and all these people that are scaring the shit out of them and taking them off of their workout routine, taking them off of their diet, taking them off of their work production, taking them off of their study. And I got taken off of it. So I'm like, fuck, I got to get back on this. And, a week into studying every day, I don't consume social media. I install Instagram at 12:30 every day. I installed it for this. I install Instagram. I make my posts. And then I install it in the morning, make my post, install it in the afternoon at lunch, check my DMs because I'm fucking trying to build relationships here. I'm looking for recruits. Like I'm talking to people saying, hey, like, can I hire you? Where do you, like, always ask the same questions. Where do you live? What do you do right now? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm looking for people because we're growing. What day are we on? Cause we started, I want to share with this with Instagram. So we started, I had an idea 3 weeks ago to create a game of how we could double our business in 90 days. And what day are we on? Do you know?
I think like 70 something, 74.
We're 16 days in or 18
Hey,
days in.
can I say something on the Chris Scott thing? Because it's so funny.
Yeah.
I just want to say, because you're like
I don't mind the
unplugged
guy.
on
I think
that.
he's necessary, but people are so stuck on
Not
him, you
on
know?
him particularly, but like just on this thing of like unplugging. Like it's actually harder than you think to unplug fully from news and negativity because people actually spread it. And like
You
one
see my
example,
DMs, man.
dude, one example is like, so that guy was like, oh shit, like every time I see this guy, I'm reminded of like, fuck, the world's like, the governments are coming in and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, let me just like put that off. And then I was talking to a client and he's like, hey, check this picture out. It's me and my wife and guess who's staying at our house? And there's like a picture of this dude with my client. So
What,
it's
Chris
like,
Guy?
yeah. He's like, he's staying in my house. So it's like, you know, you almost have to like put in extra effort to avoid negativity and news and people holding you down. And that's like, to answer your question, one of the things that I did to eliminate the downs that like you taught me is get rid of negativity and get rid of people that hold you back, you know?
Dude, 100%. And what's holding people back? Like if Instagram was a person, they'd be the worst person. It'd be the worst friend in the world. Like if Instagram was a person, Instagram would be like that guy at the gym that's just distracting you. Like, yo, talk to me. Hey, over here. Like it's the worst person at the gym. When you're reading a book, Instagram, Facebook, your phone, iMessage, like people don't understand that like having your phone on all the time. Like my phone's off at like 9. Okay, 9:30. It's 9:54 right now. We were going to do this earlier, but I don't have my phone notifications on. I turn off all my notifications. If you want to get a hold of me, you have to call me. Like if you text me, I don't respond right away because I'm operating on my fucking agenda. I got 3 companies now. Okay. By the way, so we're 18 days into our 90 days to double our business. Our revenues month over month are up 35%, 30%, something stupid. Since we made that commitment, we made a decision. We're going to double our business in 90 days. And we're already up 30 some odd percent. And we're about a $6 or $7 million company. So a 30 or 40% increase is not like $5,000. Like we're up. And it's because you make a decision. And I talked about this with my executive staff today. When you make a decision, you get decision, the root of decision. So the Latin root of that word, the derivation of that word, like where that word really came from was decidere, which is to cut off from. So when you make a decision about a future, you cut off all other possibilities. Like all other possibilities. And you commit to that thing. You make a decision to that future. So we decide to double our business in 90 days, right?
Dude, by the way,
if I see something, I see something on the news. Yeah, fucker, let me finish, okay? So I see something on the news. I see, oh, Australia, another lady got arrested. Well, you know what? 50%, she created that situation. No one wants to accept responsibility. They're all becoming victims. So I see a situation like that. I'm like, oh my God. And then fear starts to come in. And then you start creating a different future. And that's how they win, is they get you to create a different future. Like people are talking about being awake. Like you're not awake if you allow all this shit you're reading to fuck with your game plans. You know what I mean? If your business is getting fucked with, pick a different, it's time to pivot, dude. Like you got to pivot. Like your number one focus is like, how do I pivot and use these lockdowns and use the government bullshit to my advantage? Like for me, I pivoted. I'm like, bro, I'm going to recruit at all of these events, rallies, all this stuff. Like those are all my people. Half them lost their jobs. They need work. I'm going to recruit. I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm going to make announcements about how we don't have vaccine mandates, blah, blah, blah. We've added 14 people to our business in the last 25 days. And while all these other businesses are contracting, by the way, you know what I noticed, man? There's less counter intention out there right now. Like all the other competitors, they've pulled their goals right in close and they're all thinking about survival. So, you know, like we all manifest our futures, right? We create with our thinking, our decisions, our postulates, like the energy we put out. Well, there's counter intention in the marketplace. So other people are putting out their own goals and their desires, and that pushes up against yours. But right now, what the elite have successfully done is they've pushed everyone's desires and goals down. So it's like a free fucking zone for creation. So I'm like, I'm hiring, I'm recruiting. Whereas before, I'm hiring, I'm recruiting. It was really grindy. Now it's like, hey, you're hiring, you're like, we want to work with you. And I just realized there's not as much resistance right now. So if employees or employers are watching this, business owners are watching this, salespeople are watching this, everyone else is using what's going on in the world as an excuse not to produce. Like if it's hard for you right now, it's hard for everyone else, except they're all a bunch of bitches. And they're using this as an excuse to not produce. Oh, you know, Trudeau, he's doing this. It's a hard economy. I can't produce. My business is down. Oh, I'm a restaurant owner. Like blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, like adapt. Like, why don't you come up with delivery for the unvaccinated? Oh, do funny advertising called delivery for second-class citizens. Make it a joke. Like, use what the government, use the punch the government threw at you and you know, make money with it. Like, use it to your success. I don't see that happening right now. So anyway, I just wanted to announce that, like, I think now more than ever, man, is the best time to expand. Like the best time to expand.
Totally. And I've had to adjust my pitch too. Like when I sell sales training for anyone who's listening, we sell a platform called Carden University. And one of the biggest problems in the marketplace for all our clients is whether they sell furniture, equipment, cars, lumber, wholesale, like they don't have any product. They have no inventory. So they're like, I don't have anything to sell, but you're calling me saying you're going to increase my sales. So like you got to pivot. And one of the things that Corey mentioned earlier is he's like, the root of the word decision is to cut off. And like when I moved out here, I literally burned all the boats. Like I cut off ties, I cut off, and I would advise people like, you should be willing to move, like be willing to let go of things. And I think also the word change, like if you want to change and make a really drastic change in your life, I think the root of the word change is the word barter. So like you have to give something up to get to where you want to go. And dude, when you hired me, I honestly, dude, I got to admit to you, man, when we hopped on the interview, like if anyone on here has ever had the experience of like, oh, I'll apply just to see what they have to say, like it can't hurt.
When you apply with, get on a phone call with me, you're in for
we were on a video call just like this, man. I'll never forget, man. I was in the parking lot. I was on a long lunch, the Ottawa Senators. I drove to a parking lot and we were in the car and you said, dude, you got to cut off. You were like, do you smoke weed? I was like, yeah. I knew I couldn't lie to you. I knew I couldn't lie to you. And you're like, dude, you have to stop that. And like, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I was like, I'm going to go to Czech Republic because I had a vacation booked and then I'll say, okay. But I was like, I'll say, okay. And then I was like, dude, I know I'm going to quit weed. I'm going to quit going out, chasing girls. Like I'm going to have all this stuff I'm going to give up and I'm just going to throw everything that I have. All I did in the first 6 to 12 months was eat, sleep, work out in the morning, train myself on sales, and was on the phone selling. I simplified my life down to that. So if you guys want to get somewhere, like you're going to have to give something up.
100%. And I honestly give up social media. Like if it's not making you money right now, I mean, really, if it's not making you money, but you have no business on it. Like until you get your shit together, you know, there's no point. You're not informing yourself. Like most people, like they're watching the same shit. You know, Australia's fucked. You know, the vaccine is not good for you and it causes spike proteins to congregate in the heart and causes myocarditis. Like, you know all this stuff. So like, why are you watching all of it and just sharing it with each other? I don't like this condo I rented, but whatever. Okay, it's too loud here. I'm in Florida right now. By the way, we'll talk about Florida on I'll do another live. It's crazy how uptone people are here. I think there's some really golden times coming. I think that what people do, I think that this era is going to create a whole new wave of millionaires because the people that survive in this market, not survive, but thrive. We've had our best financial year in our company ever this year. In our business, half of our business is in-person selling, and it was shut down for 5 months of the year. Financial year. We'll have our best financial year this year. And it's like, what's going to happen is this whole thing's going to crumble over time. And what's gone on down here is the people lost their freedom, but then they got it back, and how appreciative they are. Dude, I've been to Florida. I lived down here last year 6 months. I lived down here the year before for 3 months. I've been down here pretty much every year for the last few years. And the happiness level of people and the production level and the customer service down here is so much higher now after they've gone through those tough times and they've come out the other side, that I think that when all this shit crumbles, like we're in the age of transparency. So what's happening right now is people are waking up. The governments can't hide stuff. Whatever Fauci's doing, whatever all these guys are doing, they can't hide it anymore. And it's all coming out. And when it crumbles, people lost their freedoms. Now they're going to get them back. They're going to appreciate the country they live in. They're going to appreciate, oh my God, I can go to work. Whereas pre all this bullshit, people are like, oh, I got to go to work today. It's like, dude, like that's an unemployed person's dream. Like there's some fucking kid in fucking Africa who can't find any work because they're in a depressed country somewhere in that continent. That's their dream, is to go to work. If there was a depression, you would dream to have a job. Can you still hear me? I know my internet connection's kind of shit. And now people are talking like, oh, I got to go to work. You ask someone how their day's going. Oh, it's good. It's almost over. So that's what I've realized here. And I think what these times are going to create is going to create new business owners, new hustlers, new successful people, and the people who thrive in these times. I just want to say, if you just joined the call, so this is Ryan. We've changed the 36 or 40 people who've been on this call. We've changed it now a few times over. So this is Ryan. Ryan broke 200K. Last year, he broke $100,000 a year for the first time. How old are you?
27.
He's 27. He made 40 grand a year the year before. He made 42 grand the year before at a different company, came to work for me, made less money his first year, didn't give up, made 100 grand his second year, and now his third year, he's on track. His goal is to hit 250 grand. He just broke 200 grand, and it's October 28th. Okay? So that's this guy. That's who this guy is. By the way, my company's hiring. We're actually looking for 2 people to work on Ryan's team, to work with Ryan, to get mentored by Ryan for a job that can pay you. I mean, I got a bunch of people in my business making, not just this business, but all of Yesa, making 200 grand a year, 150 grand a year, 300 grand a year, 200 grand a year. So if you want to make money, we're hiring. Okay. The job's not easy, but you get to work in a winning team. We don't have Karens in our business, or Susans, or whatever we're calling them now. Okay. And it's a disciplined workplace. And I just want to acknowledge this guy. This is Ryan, for breaking this goal. He's literally already doubled his income from last year in a depressed market. He went from 100 grand last year, 40 grand the year before. So you've more than doubled. You're growing your income at about 120% a year.
Yeah. That's
so you
pretty
went
wild,
from
man.
40 grand a year to 100 grand, 101 last year to 200, and it's only October.
Yeah.
Let's just give some people advice here on what do you say? How do you do that?
And
before we get on the call, how do we do that?
Yeah. Just
applying in Ontario. I love that. Guys, we're looking for recruiters. My recruitment positions are 200 grand a year positions, but they're not for the faint of heart. You don't sit behind a desk like HR and just accept people. You go and find people. $200,000 recruiter positions, $200,000 sales and marketing positions, 150 grand sales development rep positions. Ryan, what's your advice for people right now on surviving these times and making money and expanding?
Yeah. First of all, first rule of success, we always talk about this, is who do you listen to? Find someone who has been in your position and has what you want, and learn from them, work for them, get around the right people, let go of the wrong people, right?
Yeah,
like
about that, about the wrong people.
Yeah. So I was talking about this, how you want to grow, right? Your graph, not only income wise, but everything. And if you have ups and downs, if you just eliminate the downs, all you're left with is ups. And what causes the downs is mistakes, bad things happening, sickness, and like that's from negativity and basically suppression that people put in your head. So like I've had a bunch of people in my past that have said like, oh, like, why do you work so hard? What are you doing? Like, even as I was leaving my last job, I had a guy like basically at my job that was like, oh, I'm just looking out for you. you sure it's good financially? Are you sure you can make money there? Hope he's watching. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Because you know what? I went from 40 grand to 200. So fuck you. You know, like it's these people that
your
plant
friends
these
try
seeds.
to talk about your job. They try
Yeah,
to talk your friends. By the way, I'm very clear on how I define friends. Just like I'm really clear on how I define family. I don't
yeah,
define family like we're related by blood. I don't give a fuck if we're related by blood. I'll cut people out of my life, blood related or not, if they prove that they're, against what I'm trying to do.
exactly. And then also like I said, not quitting. Like there's so many times along the way where I was just like, oh, like maybe this just isn't it. Maybe it can't really work out. Like there's so many times where it's just like, fuck, like is this worth it? But it's don't quit, commit, burn the boats, and also like work your ass off. There's really two things. It's like getting good at what you do. So find a job where there's people making the kind of money that you want to make, where there's room. Like my commission is not capped. If I bring in $1 million deal with a big company, like I'm going to make at least 100 grand this month, right? There's no cap on it. So like find
How
somewhere
much
where there's
money did you bring in
opportunity.
today? How many deals did you close today?
Uh, I between the deals closed and the money brought in and collected, I think it was like about 90 or 100, something like that, 100 grand.
Damn, dude.
So yeah, and then also like my target was wrong. So like get the right target. Like
My
I
target was wrong.
remember. Yeah,
Dude, my target now is get wealthy. My
yeah,
target before was change the world. And it was like, dude, wrong target. It's like people like, oh, well, what do you mean? You got to change the world, dude. I can't change the world if I'm not wealthy. It's that simple. Oh, Mother
yeah.
Teresa, you don't think she had the Catholic Church behind her, dude? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it takes money to change this world. People don't get that.
Yep.
So I had the wrong target too. When you say you had the wrong target, what do you mean by that?
So I have a call, basically for those of you, and Jonathan's asking, I'm 27. For those of you wondering my story, I was working for the Ottawa Senators. I was, I think, 23 or 24. I was making about 40 grand a year. And I remember when I'd started to like see, hey, maybe I could get good at this thing called sales. Like maybe I don't have to just like be like, oh, it's the product. Oh, it's the economy. Oh, it's the team's performance. Like maybe I could start to control this a little bit. Like I saw a little bit of Grant Cardone videos. I was watching different people, different trainers. I'm like, maybe there's something here. And I ended up buying Cardone University from Morgan, who sold it to me. And I increased my sales by 83% in 2 months. Okay, so I bought the program that I now sell, which is pretty cool. Hit me up if you want. Fuck it, I'm throwing in a promotion for myself. Okay, Cardone University, it's sick.
Everybody who's watching this, like you're a business owner, you're a holistic health person, you need to get on Cardone University without question. Like without question, there's not even there's not a better product out there for your mindset, for your headspace. There's even content in there on how to handle a crisis, on how to handle a recession, on how to handle COVID, on how to handle the news. Like people are listening to the wrong people, man. Anyway, so you're working at the Ottawa Senators.
And to answer your question, yeah. So get this. So I increased my sales 83% in 2 months with the university, and it changed my life. I just became completely obsessed with mastering this thing called sales and Grant Cardone. But when I got on the call with Morgan, by the way, I had zero intention. I'm like, maybe I'll spend like $30. Ended up spending hundreds of dollars on this thing. I was very impressed with, because he's training on the university. He's on his way and is probably in the top 1% of salespeople, right? At the time, still very, very good, even though this was several years ago. I was blown away by what his skill set was when it came to sales. And on the call, he was asking what Grant Cardone calls hard questions, getting you to look for yourself at your situation. Like people don't understand this about sales. You can't close someone else. They close themselves with a decision. You just help them make a decision. So he asked me this question where he's like, let me ask you this, man. Like you're making what, 40 grand? How much do you want to make like over the next few years? Like what's your big target? You really knock it out of the park. And I have a recording of this call. Maybe we could put this online. I said, I paused a really long time. I said, I don't know, maybe like 70 grand, 80 grand. And he went, oh, yeah, man, I'm so sorry. We spent all this time. I don't think this is the right product for you, man. Dude, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Dude, this is for someone who wants to break 150 grand, 200, 300 grand. Dude, that's your target, man. I'm sorry. And it was like a punch to the face. It was like, dude, you're a little bitch, man. Dude, that's your fucking target. And
well, dude,
and the more
wrong data, man. All of us have had the wrong target. But people think that they think that 80 grand. Oh, I read a study that above 80 grand, your happiness levels aren't even affected. Dude, are we talking about happiness or are we talking about money here? I didn't know that they were connected. What are we talking? Don't give me a lecture about happiness. We're talking about money. We're talking about the thing that your groceries, dude. Check out my fridge, man. I had to stock this fridge. So I just moved down here for 6 weeks. I thought I was coming down for 2 weeks. Dude, this cost me $750 fucking dollars. Stock the fridge and the freezer. Okay? $750.
Did you see Grant's YouTube video today?
Say that again?
On his health? You see that? Did you see that?
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Grant posted
all
a video.
All the equipment, all the gym equipment he has, you know. So people have all this in the holistic groups are the worst for this. All these awake people that they eat kale and they do yoga and they think, oh, like money's not important because they gave up on it. But listen, like everybody here needs to know something, that your government just printed 40% more money in 1 year. So your money in the next 2 years is going to be worth 40% less. So everybody here, their little cozy, comfortable life is going to fucking end. And there's two groups that are going to grow. The rich and the wealthy, that group's going to grow because of the massive availability of information and education. And the poor, the people in poverty, are going to grow. Those are the only two groups. The middle class will not grow. So all these work-life balance people, they're all going to get a slap in the face. All the people showing up to work, you know, right at 9 a.m. Like the Vancouver rush hour is hilarious. Their rush hour is like 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then 2:30 to 4. You know, there's no work ethic in Vancouver. But it's interesting to see what's going to happen. And you're walking proof. Like, you just doubled your income. But do you feel rich? Like, let's just be honest.
No.
You don't even have a lot of expenses. You feel rich? You made 200 grand last 9.5 months.
Dude, people don't account for taxes. People don't account for taxes. No, not at all. Not at all. Like, because your lifestyle goes up with it, and there's levels to this shit. Like, and people aren't accounting for the sickness, the accident. Like, when you get older,
dude,
like, are you stacking money away?
How about me? Dude, I was 3Xing. I thought I was killing it because I was making a few $100 grand or a couple $100 grand. You know, and then I got sick.
Bro, saved your life. Money helped save your life, dude. If you were earning 40K a year, you'd be fucked, man.
I'd be dead,
able to
dude.
Take all that time off. Yeah, pretty much.
No, like the doctors, when I showed the doctors my before and after photos, they're like, oh, that's what's called circling the drain. It's a medical term.
Yeah.
Like,
but like, dude, so I have a grandmother who's got like severe like Alzheimer's. She's like super old and like she needs like special care, a special this, a full-time person. And like, luckily, like my grandfather was like responsible financially. So like he has plenty of stresses in his life right now, but like making sure that she's well taken care of is not one of those things. And like Grant said in the boot camp this weekend, he's like, if you are at work and you're like, ugh, and you're like dreading stuff, or you're like, oh, I don't want to do this thing. Like, your goal and your target isn't big enough. He's like, what's your goal? You'd want to walk on glass. And when I was thinking about this, I was like, when I have a family, and then also for my parents and for my friends and like my group, like my people, I don't want to ever have to like compromise. Like, I want to be able to provide security. I want to be able to take care of people. And then also people outside of that. And like, it took me a long time. It was a very difficult concept that Grant, like, this is why people hate Grant Cardone so much, because he's like, dude, if you're poor, you're selfish. But if you really think about it, like, I want to take care of a lot of people, and I want to put in extra work and do all the hard things so that I can help other people and be responsible and take care of my family instead of letting the government take care of my family. So which side do you want to be on? Like, what's your goal? What is your goal? And that's part of, you asked me earlier, like, what got me to this is like having a big goal. Like, I write my goals down every single day. When I'm in the shit and I'm making fucking cold calls that I still fucking hate to this day, I still call people cold, everybody. Like, I'm reminded of like, hey, where am I going? And that's what's kept me in the game. And that also alluded, like, just to go back to what I said earlier about not quitting. If you don't have a goal, like, impossible not to quit. So you have to have a big target, a big goal in front of you.
That's good, man. Well, I appreciate it. Congratulations on breaking the 200 grand barrier, you know, 10 months, almost 10 months into the year. All right. And doubling your income year over year. That's huge. And I think there's too many people complaining about the price of gas, about inflation. There's too many people complaining about, it's funny how it's okay to complain about money, complain about being broke, complain about taxes, but there's not, you know, we need people that are like, hey, like, I'm winning. You know, that's what people need. People need to hear about people winning. And, oh, well, that's bragging. No. Like, I want to hear about you winning. I want to hear about Dan Cazell winning too. You know, I talked to my buddy Sean Zubor today. You know, they'll be at 500 agents by the end of the year. You know, like, they're growing like a weed. And they're massively successful. And he's telling me some of their financial numbers about their evaluation of their company. And I'm like, dude, I love hearing that stuff. I love hearing that Steve Spray made $700,000 this year. This is our good friend, by the way. People, if you don't know Steve Spray, you want to Steve Spray. Look up Steve Spray and add him. You know, he made $700,000 this year so far, US. I love hearing that. I don't need to hear any more negative. I want to hear people winning. So appreciate you winning, man. It does more for people than you think. We are hiring. We're looking for people to join Ryan's team. He works under a guy and with a guy named Morgan Walls, who runs our Grant Cardone sales team. And that team is hiring. That business used to be a grueling business that was cold call only, where we've invested a bunch of money in marketing. We've invested a bunch of money in customer support staff. We're growing that business. It's a great place to work. There's a ton of money available. Our comp plans are rich. There's a lot of money to be made, as Ryan can allude to. Ryan made 30 grand this month so far, and there's still a couple days left, man. It's only the 28th. It's only the 28th. Mm-hmm. All right. So we are hiring. We're not a politically correct workplace. We believe in medical freedoms. We'll respect your medical freedom. I'm looking for recruiters in Ontario, salespeople in Ontario, sales managers in Ontario. And then I have 2 business units that I'm looking to hire for here. Our Grant Cardone sales business. We're also looking to hire for our Studio 98 sales, which is another company, a marketing company that sells into the US. Okay. We're going to be moving a division of our business into America. So if you do have a desire to move to America at some point, this is the company to join. And how do they find you, Ryan? How do we find you? How do people find you?
Yeah. Instagram, LinkedIn, anywhere where there's fucking social media, Ryan Gorelick. So Ryan, spelled the usual way, and then Gorelick, Garellek.
Yeah, type it in the comments. Type into the comment there.
Yeah. And one thing I just want to tell people, like, go where you could get educated. Yeah. Like, it's not just about the money or the immediate opportunity. Like, I built a skill set with Yessa and with Grant Cardone Canada that, like, okay, in a couple years, I've went all in, built up the skill set. Now I could use it forever, for the rest of my life, and it'll only keep going up.
Yeah, dude, It's only going to keep going up. I appreciate you, man. You've contributed to our company in major ways. Yes, I am going to be staying in Port Moody temporarily. I am in Florida right now. It's amazing down here, doing some courses and some work on myself. Jessica, realtor. If you come into our offices, Jessica, where do you live? What province are you in? You can get those wristbands. We'll hook you up for free. Come for a tour of our offices, and
I'm pretty sure.
We'll hook you up with some. We'll hook you up with some offensive wristbands. So, okay, appreciate you guys. Cardone University changed my life. Cardone University is what I think Ryan can even agree is he's responsible for him doubling his income. Guys, turn off Chris Sky, turn off Rebel News, turn off whatever that Sky News from Australia. Turn it all off. Get on to Cardone University. DM me. I can hook you up with a great deal for Cardone University, or DM Ryan. And we're hiring at Yessis. So if you want a job, you want to work at a great place, you want to make great money, hit us up. All right, Ryan, thanks for your help, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Great work.
Appreciate you, Corey. Talk soon, man.